What's going on, y'all? Welcome back to the Unruly Podcast with Sticks and Evan. We got a lot. We got a lot to talk about, man. A lot to talk about. Obviously, top of the show. Prayers up for Damar Hamlin. Continued support. Obviously, we haven't been here to really talk about the situation and ramifications to this. We'll get into the ramifications of the first seed later. But first thoughts, obviously, glad he's just okay and breathing. We don't know what this means for his NFL career, which obviously that doesn't even matter. It matters about his health, but let's be real about the aspect of what he's probably thinking, the future of his NFL life per se, and how it probably has already come to end in such a short time, unfortunately. But that's the game. Them's the break sometimes, which is unfortunate for a really young upcoming safety who played very well this year. What do you think?
Never know. Never know.
You do never know. I was also one of those people who thought Ryan Shazier could come back.
That's different, though.
I was young.
That's different because
he was one of my favorite players.
He was paralyzed for a good amount of time. This is like
this was more.
This I feel like is his decision, whether because if things continue to go the way they're going, he'll make a full recovery and be back to what he used to be.
Yeah.
However, it's obviously do you want to put your body in that scenario again? Because there was same thing happened. There was a hockey player it happened to in the NHL 20 years ago, and he fucking got resuscitated and played 12 more years in the league. So it's at this point, if he we know he's going to recover, it's his choice whether he wants to play football ever again or not. I wouldn't. I would not. If I achieved my. If I was him, I'd be I achieved my goal. I played in the NFL. I'm all set. But that's just
true. But at the same time, you got to think he's like we said, he's only 24. He's probably thinking, I played pretty well this year. I think I could maybe make a spot for, even if maybe it's not on this team, I could go to another team and start and do well. And because he played very well this year.
Yeah, I mean that's what in most people in the NFL shit like that happens, they'll come back because they're in the NFL, and that's a lot of people. It's either they didn't graduate college or they only wanted to do this. They took there's not a lot that there's no job that they want to go to after the NFL. So I don't know.
Yeah,
it'll be wild to see if.
If he does decide.
Yeah, if he comes back, it'll be wild to see that, the whole world reacting to that.
Because I remember when Eric Berry came back from cancer, and that's when I was really getting to NFL. I was watching it before, but that was what really was dragging me in. And I remember him coming back, even though the Chiefs kind of just replaced him with Tyrann Mathieu. You could see the fanfare, everybody just happy for him being able to be back, being able to play. I think, and that was not even, I want to say as serious, but we knew he was probably going to make a recovery. Compared to this, it's we didn't know for the first 2 or 3 days.
Yeah, that shit was scary.
It was. I'm just glad that obviously he's awake, he's alive, he's talking, breathing on his own, which is the best part for everything. So, of course, prayers up, continue to support to him and his family, and to people who are dragging T. Higgins. Fuck you.
I feel that's one of the stupidest things I've ever seen in my entire life. Because it's you watch if these people that are commenting don't watch
people
football.
Like Bart Scott.
Well, yeah, if you don't watch football, then that's one thing. But if you watch football and you watch the play, this motherfucker he had no intention. He was fighting for an extra 3 yards. It's everyone does that. Imagine, and it's not even T. Higgins is that big. Imagine you had fucking Jerome Bettis doing that to you.
Exactly.
People do that. People have done that fucking every play for however long, 57 years the NFL has been around. Fighting for extra yards, putting your fucking shoulder down. Wasn't he lowered his head and fucking put a crown of his helmet into his chest. He just put his shoulder. It's
and even then,
there was nothing dirty about that play.
We were talking off air about how Zeke Elliott is one of my favorite players, obviously being a Dallas Cowboys fan. I see him do that every single play. I've seen him do that at least 100 times in his career, at least.
Yeah, it
So
was
I was
just a
like,
freak. It was just a freak
exactly.
thing that no one could prevent. Like, obviously, he could have prevented it by not doing that. But that you think that was going through his mind? You
No,
think T. Higgins was like, "I'm going to lower my shoulder, and this
he's
guy's
thinking,
going to
he's
die"?
probably
Like,
thinking
no.
we have a chance to steal the 1 seed. That's what I want to do. Or we have a chance to basically clinch the division. That's what I'm trying to do, which I don't blame him for.
It's just like that fucking blows my mind that people like are people do it just to be like just to be assholes. Like they're
Yeah,
not they might like because people are kind of keep a lot of people are dicks in the world,
they
but like
are.
the people that actually genuinely believe that it's his fault, like you don't know anything about anything, football especially.
I will say, maybe it's because I could say just at least on my part, I was kind of blaming the NFL for not canceling the game as fast as they could, not even realizing the business side of it. And I was more thinking about when I was thinking about this, I was saying these people are probably the people who can't really process the emotion of it and are just trying to find a victim or try not victim, trying to find somebody to blame,
Yeah, somebody to blame. That's like, but it's
which is
like
dangerous though. Which is
if
dangerous.
if like when um when fucking Mason Rudolph
Yeah,
got bopped in the head by Miles Garrett. Like
terrifying.
if he like had serious damage and like there was like an issue like with him going forward,
Hmm.
then everyone has every right to blame Miles Garrett because
Yeah,
that was not within the realm of football.
I mean,
Like that was so out of the play and out of like
yeah,
that never happens in football. But like this was within the whistles and within all of T. Higgins' rights playing football and under the rules of football. He did nothing illegal. So it
mm.
just doesn't make sense to me.
I mean, I was gonna say this kind of reminds me of what's it called? We blame Vontez Burfict for Antonio Brown being the way he is because of how reckless he is, and because we hear people like it may be Ryan Clark. I think it is because I know he spent his last couple years in um, the Steelers organization, obviously when Antonio Brown was coming up and all them, and he was saying, "No, I kind of saw this from him," but everybody else is saying, "No, he was a quiet, humble kid, and now he's this arrogant um, asshole." That's all there really is to say. And like, don't get me wrong, I get it. You make it to he was the best receiver in football over Julio, over Odell at that point. And of course that brings some bragging rights, but I don't think that would necessarily lead to this where he's so insane that he's throwing stuff off of porches, almost killing kids and being subpoenaed by the city of Tampa.
Listen, the it's like the Kanye situation. Like
Kind of.
he wasn't. I mean, he didn't show that he was crazy for a very long time, and then all of a
So
sudden,
the more and more you look back on it, he kind of showed hints because even
yeah,
like
but he
I was,
wasn't doing all this
yeah,
fucking shit.
yeah,
Like like as the years go on, he's get more and more extreme, and that's what I
yeah.
feel like we saw with Antonio Brown. He gets
Mhm.
more and more extreme, and it's like there's no explanation for it. He's just either attention seeking or a weirdo.
Pretty much. And we'll drop this in a second because this is an Antonio Brown episode, but it was more of just people really trying to blame T. Higgins. People like we said, Bart Scott, and just you see a lot of analysts, you see a lot of people online. I only keep saying Bart Scott because he's an ESPN analyst who played the game of football and is saying, "Oh, this wasn't a football play." When
Doesn't make
I'd
sense.
understand if a guy like I'll even just use Skip Bayless. I'll use a guy like Stephen A. who didn't play the sport. When you have a guy like Bart Scott who played for, I wouldn't say a storied franchise because the Jets aren't a storied franchise, but
They're
played for
historic.
historic for like Joe Namath, really, and being like, because they're not
They're
even
old. That's what
basically.
is
That's yeah.
yeah.
That's what I meant by storied. Like they have tenure in the NFL. They're not like
Yeah.
the Texans where it's their very new organization. But he played for an organization you can't tell the story of the NFL without them. Let's say, and
Sure.
he played for them, and you made it to NFL level. You got to know how to play football at that point. You're saying, oh, this isn't a football play. I think he's more kind of pandering to the masses.
He's a linebacker too. Like I guarantee you, he's had people lower their shoulder into him before.
I bet you he's done it into quarterbacks.
Yeah. So like, there's I don't. That's just the dumbest argument from I never liked Bart Scott. Obviously, I'm a Patriots fan. I don't like what he did after the playoff game, but it's like I don't know. He like thinks he's the fucking man, and he just isn't.
Hey, Shannon may be leaving, so he may have a spot.
Shannon should leave, bro. There's no reason he should stay on that show.
They say half the time you're breaking up, or when you're breaking up, half the time you spend is actually breaking up. It's not the big fights; it's the little things. And I think it's finally kind of amalgamating to the point where we see all the interruptions Skip has every day.
Oh my goodness!
As an avid watcher, I watch every day basically. Not every day, but like I'm a pretty big fan, I'd say. And people could say, "Oh, well, you're just a fan of Shannon. That's why you're saying this." But it's more of just say between us. Obviously, we're not in person, so our chemistry is kind of off. Where I may cut you off, you may cut me off. But for the most part, you get your monologue off, I get my monologue off. We pod, and
it's a conversation.
And it just seems like with Skip Bayless, like he says, it's my turn. Like, I could disagree with your take on something, and I'm not going, well, it's just wrong. Like, we disagree on, let's say, Tom Brady. Not that he's great, but like, oh, how I don't want him in the playoffs, but the general masses probably do. We could disagree on that, and I'm not going to go, well, it's my turn and you're wrong. And that's just kind of what Skip does, which is very annoying to watch, which is why for the past, like, I'd even say like month or two, it's just been so difficult to watch.
He can't just like if he hears something that he disagrees with, he can't just let Shannon finish and then like go back and say he disagrees. He'll like we saw with when Shannon brought up the tweet, he was like he said hopefully Shannon deletes it or Skip deletes it, and like Skip couldn't wait until the end. He had to say I'm not deleting it, and then it's like then that starts the back and forth.
Yeah. And then you see even kind of Shannon being the bigger person, being like, you know, Jen is their moderator. They're on their third moderator, by the way.
Yeah, dude, I'd quit that job, bro. That's just way too stressful.
It definitely is. But at the same time, they had Joy. Joy went on to better things and was on First Take for a bit, and then now I don't know what she's doing, but I know she left.
On the Herd?
It may be that. It is the Herd. It is the Herd. I lied. But she was supposed to be the moderator there, and kind of got her own. Like she's basically not the guest star, but she's the Shannon Sharp in that situation, while Colin Cowherd is the Skip Bayless, where he's the most tenured guy, the journalist, while she's the kind of up and rising star who really knows ball. And then they had Jenny, who had a baby, and then I think was going down to college reporting, because I know she was a big she's from Minnesota, so big Timberwolves, big Minnesota, big big in that area, because I know she was doing a lot of Ohio State games before she had her baby. So then now they're on Jen, and he was like, yeah, just cut to commercial, basically, where it's like, yeah, just talk about something else, because I can't do it with them. And you saw like they had like a nicer moment later on in the week, but it's like even seeing that, it makes it seem more fake.
Yeah.
Because like we fought and stuff like that, but like, it just seems like the way he brought it, like trying to be like, oh well, you're jealous of him because you could only play till 35, you played till 45. I just felt like
playing football professionally until you're 35 years old is a fucking accomplishment.
As a tight end, not as a
like a quarterback who just sits there,
exactly.
like doesn't, and Tom Brady of all people doesn't get hit all that much.
They made rules to make sure he don't get hit.
Yeah.
That's what I mean. Different. And it's not even. It'd be different if, like, say, I hate to keep saying this. If you said this about Bart Scott, he's just the name I have on my brain, so I'm just going to keep using it. But when you're saying this to Shannon Sharp, who is arguably the third best tight end of all time, like you literally can't tell the story of a tight end without saying Shannon Sharp's name closer to the beginning than the end.
He also played in a different time than Brady,
where they weren't even throwing
smacking motherfuckers too.
Exactly. He was telling a story of one time, like the worst hit he got. He went to go catch a ball and he turned and a guy hit him right under the chin and he literally he blacked out, like he passed out. And he was like, yeah, I finished that game with like 200 yards, a touchdown, and I was like, that era was different.
Yeah,
and you're gonna criticize him when we have guys barely touching Brady and going, all right, not pass interference, roughing the passer. So I don't know. And obviously, then we have Colin Kaepernick saying a bunch in his tweet, which I haven't even really researched, just because I was more just kind of stunned of what he said. How he was like, "Oh, Skip Bayless has a history of this," and I was like, "He has a history of being overzealous, I know." And then one of the talking points was, um, he said the N word to Kareem, or not to Kareem, in an article about Kareem, and I was like, the one thing I'll say about Skip is I've never known him to be a racist.
Yeah, I don't know, but like, man, that seems a bit extreme for him to
Probably do
be
some
still
research when we
working.
hop off the pod, but
Yeah, him still be working on ESPN if that's out there somewhere. There's
and
no
especially
way.
in the day and age we're in, I feel like, think about it, we've seen people get caught with less. I feel like that would have been out by now if that
Yeah,
was real.
yeah.
I
If
mean,
there's
like
an
I said,
actual article,
I feel like I haven't really done research, so maybe it just hasn't been publicized. But I feel like with Skip, with all the things he says and all the times he's been in the media, I feel like people would have brought this up by now.
yeah,
Especially when he's been brought up for the words he said to
yeah,
Dak, which was just the worst thing I've ever heard.
dude. They brought out a picture from the fucking '60s of goddamn
Jerry Jones.
Jerry Jones at the fucking at the Little Rock
Right.
Nine shit, and if there's an article out there, they gonna find it.
Mm-hmm. That's the only thing that makes me kind of question the story, where it's like, is it real? Because I feel that would have been come out by now. That would have
Yeah,
been came out. So I don't know. Enough about Skip and Shannon and this whole mess of a situation. Let's talk about the result of this situation. Today we got Chiefs Raiders at 4:30. We have another game we'll talk about right after this, but focusing on this game, I got the Chiefs obviously, but Raiders are, I don't know, Raiders confuse me. You know, I'm a Derek Carr fan and I'm kind of upset that he got benched, but I could still kind of understand why. But the Raiders itself, like just some stats for you. Well, in the 9 years Derek Carr has been quarterback for the Raiders, he's not had a top 10 defense once. If anything, they've had bottom 10 defenses every single year. This year, they are last or second to last in every single category across the board. Every single category. And I'm not saying because he does throw a lot of picks. Like I said, he's not the best quarterback. He's probably closer to the back 10 than the first 10. But it just annoys me where it's like we kind of throw dirt on his name when the defense doesn't hold anything. And he has to kind of overplay. Because I see him as like a Jimmy G, where it's like if he has a lot of good pieces around him, you could maybe win a Super Bowl. But when you force him to have to be like Joe Burrow, Josh Allen, where he has to make plays, you're going to lose that way.
that's the thing. But this offense, looking at it on paper, should be
Built to
like
win.
should be unstoppable. Like, and Josh Jacobs doing his thing. You know, Devontae Adams is doing his thing. Darren Waller's kind of been hurt a lot, but it's like I don't understand the benching and like the moving off of Derek Carr. I thought that was kind of out of the blue, but I also don't think Josh McDaniels is a good head football coach.
Somehow he still has a job. I couldn't tell you how.
I mean,
That New England pedigree moves a lot.
he'll get fired, come back. You know, it's the fucking cycle, dude. And I'll be cool with it because he's better than Matt Patricia's stupid ass.
As much as I may not like him as a head coach, as an offensive coordinator, he is God.
Yeah, he knows what he's
He's
doing. He took
literally
Mac
God.
Jones to a 10-7 fucking year
He
last year.
he elevated Mac Jones to probably what we see as his peak.
Yeah, but
And
this fucking whatever Matt Patricia's got him going on.
and we'll
Not
probably
good.
finish up the show with the Pats, obviously being Pats fans and talking about that whole situation. But
The
let's just say
Raiders is just like the Raiders are like they should be where people want to go, but
he
like
should be.
it's like not like there's nothing like they're in a bad spot. Like Josh Jacobs is probably gonna leave.
He's
Devontae
saying
Adams,
he'll take a pay cut to stay. He said he's made enough money and he wants to stay, which is
but like there's no future in that. Like your quarterback's gone. Jared
I don't
Stidham's
think he
not your
cares.
quarterback.
I think he's more like if he goes somewhere else, they know or he knows he's probably not going to get a crazy good deal because, running backs don't get paid very good deals, especially with how we've seen Zeke's deal flashed badly. CMC's deal is kind of looking not as bad now, but that's why you see like Barkley's going to get paid soon, but we don't know how big because of guys like Zeke and just just running backs that once they get paid, they really kind of fall off because they get paid like in the third, fourth year, and that's when they start to take their dip.
So I think that he should get the fuck out of there, though.
He should. I don't know if he will.
Like, there's no future in the fucking Raiders.
There isn't, but I think
defense is bad. Devontae Adams is gonna fucking leave. Darren Waller's not gonna get healthier. Like, he's kind of at where he's at. Derek Carr's gone. There's not.
I think they kind of just need to blow everything up. Trade away Renfro, Waller. Just trade away everybody. Get assets. Especially but even then, you could say that, but they've already proven they can't hit on first-round picks. They have Henry Ruggs, who has his situation. I won't speak on it any further because what happened, and we're done with it. Their 20th pick, what's his name? It was like Damon Arnett, who was flashing guns on camera, who was picked up by the Jags, and then immediately cut.
They cut Jonathan Abram, though.
Which
I never understood that.
I could understand for the point. He was a dog. I could see he didn't deserve to be paid as much as he probably thought, but even then you probably still could have got him on a discount and not just cut him or even trade him and get value. Yeah. But they're just like, oh, just cut. And then their D-end Farrell, awful. They drafted Leatherwood in the 2019 draft.
Not great.
And I think they said I think it said starting from 2017, 2018, all their first-round draft picks from then till now are not on the team, not one.
Yeah, it's rough.
It just shows they can't draft. Terrible. So even if they get assets, what do you do with this team?
They got to hit on a quarterback. They got to
hit on anything. They got to hit on something.
They got to get Spencer Rattler.
Do you think he's a good quarterback, though?
No. I think his name, though.
He does.
They're in Vegas. They need a name.
They do like names. I think it was another analyst. It might have been Brandon Marshall was talking about. Obviously, Al Davis was the old owner, and now his son is running it. And there's one thing about the Davis boys is they like big names. So
and Spencer Rattler, like 5 touchdowns against Tennessee, like
he's not awful
when they were number 1. It's like. He shows something sometimes.
He shows sparks. I see him in like the Baker Mayfield category where it's like maybe not going number 1, but I see him where his flashes will flash really big, but his lows will get the deepest, darkest pits of darkness that they could be.
He might go undrafted, real talk, or like a 4th round pick. Because like if you're that inconsistent in college,
he was at one point.
Yeah, dude, he was fucking unreal.
He was the god. He was the god. And it was just him coming back that last year kind of fucked him. Because they said if he went out the year before, he probably would have been a first-round draft pick. And then he was still going to be a first-round draft pick until he sucked and had to leave. And then they're like, yeah, this guy ain't going in, like you said, the first 3 rounds.
Yeah, dude. And Oklahoma turned on his ass. They said, get the fuck out of here.
Which, I don't know. Oklahoma in and of itself doesn't know what to do. They're stuck in this place of kind of mediocrity. They'll never have an Alabama, LSU, Ohio State type of run where it's like they can make a national championship and win, but they'll also always be in contention to be like maybe in the playoffs.
Bro, they're going
to get a bowl game.
Them in Texas, bro, going to the SEC, dude, they're fucked. They're so fucked.
Other than obviously like money wise, and you'll be able to get more NILs out of it, but other than that, you're kind of screwing yourself.
Yeah, the only thing I can think of is like if you somehow have a good season, like Texas or something like that. You have a good season, you don't win
They have Quinn Evers.
Yeah. But like they're still not great, dude. Like they go like fucking 11-1, lose to Bama.
Yeah.
Like then you get in the playoff because you played all SEC teams.
Mm-hmm.
But they got to go 11-1 first.
And do we think they can do that? Probably not. They put themselves in a really weird situation. But to get back on the Raiders, they're, like we said, they're stuck in this place of mediocrity where the games they should have won this year, and it sucks because, of course, Pats just had to lose to them.
Yeah, we'd
But
be dancing in the playoffs right now if we didn't throw the ball 20 yards backwards and get our quarterback trampled.
he deserved to be trampled. He deserved it. He's a dirty player. I don't care what anybody says. Mac Jones is the Grayson Allen of the NFL.
Yeah, he's a dirty player, but hey, man, we'll get over it.
He's our quarterback. He's our quarterback.
Yeah, he is.
We're stuck with him.
I didn't want him. Let the record show. I didn't want him. And even if he does great for the rest of his career, you can come back to this moment. I did not want him.
What if he goes on a crazy type run, like a Matt Ryan type run, where it's like he's flirting with Hall of Fame?
I wouldn't care if he didn't bring me any Super Bowls. I'd be like, up yours, buddy.
True.
That's all. I don't care about your fucking Hall of Fame. I care about me going to a goddamn parade. Like the feeling. I know I'm not going to get this for a very long time. Maybe the Celtics and the Bruins will give it to me, but feeling of the Super Bowl is different because it's one day.
Yeah.
It's one day. It's the whole 2 weeks to lead up to it, and you're fucking. I went out to lunch the Seahawks Super Bowl. I was 13, 14 maybe. We went out to dinner with my dad, an early dinner, and everyone's got fucking Patriots jerseys on, and everyone's like, "Go Pats!" and it's fucking electric. And now I'm never gonna have that ever anymore.
Yeah, it's tough. Now we're like every other franchise where we actually.
That sucks. Really sucks.
I know guys hated us.
Dude, there was a time from when we were fucking 13 years old to when we were 18 where it was almost a guarantee where we were going to win a Super Bowl. If a rookie got drafted, it was to the New England Patriots, it was like you were going to the Super Bowl. Cuz we went 4 years straight?
I think 4 out of 5.
4 out of 5. Oh yeah, cuz we missed 52.
Yeah.
And we went to 49, missed 50. No, we went to 49, missed 50, went to 51, lost, went to 52 and lost, went to 53 and won. So we went to 3 straight and 4 out of 5.
Which is nuts.
Which is unreal. And we were just kind of there
Sony Michel win it in their first season, which made me thought they were going to be dogs.
Yeah, Sony Michel
was a Haitian guy and was flashing the Haitian flag, and I was proud. I was like, this man's going to do great.
He had such a good rookie year too, ran for 1,000 yards.
And then he was literally dog shit. He was awful.
Those were the good old days.
Yeah, they really were.
In the meantime, we were having the Celtics go to Eastern Conference Finals every year. The fucking Red Sox won. The Red Sox won 2 World Series.
Well, didn't the Red Sox just sign a big play? I've been seeing it everywhere.
We re-signed Devers for 11 years, which is great. And I also
want to know your opinion on these long baseball contracts, but we'll talk about that another time. Just
got him. Got his ass. 11 years. Thanks for coming.
Makes no sense.
Locked down. I love it.
Really?
Guy can't go nowhere for 11 years. I'm for it.
But at the same time,
we got Yoshida for 7 years.
Say he sucks after 4. You're still stuck with him for another 8. That was bad math.
Yeah, that's bad math right there. That's the hill we're gonna die on.
That's showing stone education.
That is. We're dying on that Devers hill. If he sucks in the next 3 years, oh well. He's with us. He's got a no trade clause too. So,
damn. Is it more common in baseball with no trade clause? Because I know in basketball there's only a few players. Obviously the top dogs.
The 10, 11 years, you're gonna get a no trade. But it's
true.
If they agree,
I see a lot of those.
They agree to a trade, then.
Yeah, that's always kind of how it is. But we keep doing this. We keep sidetracking. It's unruly.
It's never going to stop.
It's always free flowing.
Can't stop us.
But we've talked enough about Raiders and their dysfunction and how their team has a very bleak future and past and present. I should call them Scrooge because they suck in all 3 phases. But let's talk about the Chiefs and how they still somehow, without Tyreek, find themselves in the number 1 seed.
I don't like them, dude. Obviously, like this is coming from a Patriots fan. Like I know how everyone else feels now, but yeah, no, I don't like them. I don't mind them. Just like who like how you guys all good all the time. But then
That's
like
what we asked. That's what they asked Tom.
yeah, like I'm a hypocrite because we like Tom Brady did that with fucking Julian Edelman and Danny Amendola and Chris Hogan. So it's
I'll
like
definitely say though, Pats were, and maybe it's being biased, but Pats were definitely more impressive because there was never one year other than obviously we had Gronk, and I mean I guess Pat Mahomes only has Kelsey this year really as a true number one, but we didn't really have a number one receiver. We had a bunch of number 3 receivers
yeah,
that Tom
which
Brady
is
made look like
yeah,
number ones.
which is where we are now. But like we don't have Tom Brady. But
True
it's like
stuff.
they still have like fucking
They still
Juju.
they still have solid number twos.
They have
They have
Juju. They
like
have fucking
low end
McCole
number ones, number
Hardman.
twos.
It's like they're still a good ass team. It's just annoying.
Their defense is still very underwhelming, which is what I think could really screw them
They
in
got
the playoffs.
yeah. They got no like buddy on
No
their
rush game.
defense.
No.
They got Chris Jones, and that's it.
They had Tyrann Mathieu, and I mean, they were like, oh well, because he had been playing bad all of last year, and they're like, oh well, we'll get off him, get Justin Reed from the Texans, and I was like, okay, let's see how this move goes. Justin Reed is still not even as good as what I think Tyrann Mathieu is, even though he's still taking another step back, I would say. And it's that defense just is really, really bad, which is why you see them lost to the Bills this year. Which is why you see them lost to the Cincinnati Bengals this year. They just kind of were on an easier streak, which is why they have the number 1 seed. And right now, fighting for the number 1 or number 2 seed is Bengals and the Bills.
Yeah, they're
If
just
it wasn't for the Monday night game, we would know who would win.
they're not even close to like that good anymore. Like the Chiefs good anymore. Like
No,
they lost to the Colts. They beat the Raiders by 1.
to be fair, well, that's division. I'll give division games. I'll always give division games close because it's division. It's always going to be weird. That's why the Bills lost to the Jets when we all figure, especially with Zach Wilson, when we all know the Bills would smack them now. But it's division, so you never really know.
Give it 28 points to the Broncos. I'm not taking that division shit. That Broncos offense is terrible, and they give 28 points to them.
Hey, maybe Russ finally figured it out.
And then they gave up 24, and they only won by 3 against the fucking Broncos the second time.
But I feel like this is good because there's no team where we just know, oh, they're easily making it to the Super Bowl. And this is kind of fun to watch, where it's like we don't know if it's going to be Joe Burrow back to back. We don't know if it's going to be Bills make their first Super Bowl in a while and actually may win it, considering they had 4 straight. They went to 4 straight and lost, which sucks for their organization.
Yeah, dude, that's brutal.
I was telling one of my coworkers about it because he's not the biggest football fan, but obviously in Boston, maybe your mom knows about this. When the Pats were real bad, they were like, "Well, we'll just show the Bills because they were good," and obviously they were going to Super Bowls every year, and so a bunch of people were kind of like, maybe not Bills fans, but they're like, "Oh, we'll have fandom for them since they're the only thing that we could really watch, and they're winning." And to watch them lose 4 straight, that's going to be tough on an organization.
It's like
because you go, what do? You go, we're obviously good enough to where we could make it there every single year, but we can't win. What do?
you're like
You're literally
you
stuck
go to
in not even mediocrity. You're stuck in you. It's like you make it. It's like you make it to the final course of that meal, and you just can't finish it. You just can't.
like it's just funny to think about. Like if you were to tell me the Patriots will go to the next 4 Super Bowls, I'm like, oh, surely we're gonna win. Like, surely we're gonna win one. You know, we're gonna win one of them.
Yeah.
But the fucking Bills didn't win a goddamn one. That's funny. That's hilarious. I feel bad. Like the Bills are one of those teams where it's like
it's hard to be.
It's hard to hate them because I hate all the teams in our division. Like other than the Bills, I hate the Dolphins. I hate the
Jets.
I hate the Jets. And in baseball, I hate all the teams in our division: Yankees, Jays, Rays, and Orioles. Celtics, same thing. Fuck the Yankees.
Yanks,
Fuck you.
big Yanks.
Celtics, same thing. I fucking have burning hatred towards the Sixers. And in hockey,
I
the
just can't
same
stand them
thing.
just because they piss me off, which is weird coming from a big AI fan.
It's like, and in hockey, it's the same thing. It's like every team in every division of every sport that I like support is the same division of my team. I hate all the other teams in the division except for the damn Bills. I've never disliked the Bills. They had fucking Ryan Fitzpatrick. I love that motherfucker.
They had Shady.
They had Shady in the fucking snow.
They had
They had Tyrod Taylor, and I think that guy's awesome.
I loved him on the.
Kyle Williams, the fucking fat white D tackle that made goddamn like 3 Pro Bowls. I love that dude. It's like now they have Cole Beasley. Who doesn't like Cole Beasley? Josh Allen.
Cowboys so much. I miss him.
Like then they have Josh Allen. Love Josh. Who doesn't love Josh Allen?
People who like Pat Mahomes and Joe Burrow.
Well, I feel like Josh Allen and Joe Burrow go hand in hand. They're the same person.
I was making this argument. I feel like, in a way, kind of Josh Allen, if that game were to have proceeded, I feel like that game would have been the real test for who's number 2. Who's the number 2? Because quietly, Joe Burrow has had a great year this year, where he's 3rd in MVP in my eyes. Obviously, because we make it a quarterback stat. If we're making it into everything surrounding, obviously, I put like Jettis in there. I got to put Nick Bosa in there. But if we're just talking quarterbacks, he's 3rd. He's had a very great year. And even when a lot of people thought Cincinnati was a fluke last year, brought them back into contention and is making a really strong case for why they could make it back to another Super Bowl.
Yeah, that team's in real good hands for a long time.
A real long time. And it's so hard to hate him too. Like Joe Shiesty is just nice, man.
It's like who hates Cincinnati?
It's hard.
What's their bad about Cincinnati?
Especially like when you consider the counterpart in Ohio with the Browns and how a lot of people hate the Browns now because of their roster. It makes it more likable even for them. So.
And it's like I remember
division's kind of just likable. If we're being on before the whole situation, that whole division was kind of just likable.
I strongly disliked the Steelers. Let me put that out there.
I didn't like the Steelers. I love Mike Tomlin.
Yeah, no, Mike Tomlin's a good dude and a good coach.
And I just kind of co-associate them. So I'm just like the Steelers. I have a very profound respect for them, and Mike Tomlin is one of my favorite coaches of all time.
See, I go Steelers, and I go Ben Roethlisberger, and I go no dislike.
But the only I like Ben. This was before I even knew about all that stuff. I didn't even really know about that until I really started getting into football, and everybody's making the jokes. And I was like, "What the fuck are we talking about?" I was like, "That's a pretty messed up joke just to have." And then I looked it up, and I was like, "Oh, real." But. But what I just saw him because I saw him as like a kind of smaller, not even really smaller, but another version of Josh Allen, just a bigger version. Where I was like, this man,
fat fuck. I can say that because I'm fat.
This man doesn't play quarterback. He plays bully ball. He plays bully basketball, playing football. He's like, oh, you want to come tackle me? No, I'll just bop you on the head with the ball and then go throw it 40 yards. It was just fun to watch. If you haven't noticed, I just like gunslingers, which is why I'm a big like Mahomes.
Brett Favre.
We can't talk about Brett Favre, especially if we in Mississippi. That boy doing them dirty.
This is Brett Favre's 1 Super Bowl hat.
Of course, it has to be against the Pats.
Yeah.
Hey, we could say we're not the Knicks. A lot of historic stuff happens against the Knicks. Luka's game. I'm pretty sure DeMar had a game winner. I'm pretty sure Donovan Mitchell had another great game. We had a great game against them. The Knicks are just kind of storied for if there's going to be a great night in basketball, look for it to be against the Knicks.
Good.
Even though the Knicks have been quietly good this year. Julius Randle has to get his respect.
He's gotten his respect the past 3 years.
Yeah, I could definitely say
he was. I would say. If you said that like 2-3 years ago, I'd say yeah, fair. But like this man has his respect.
Okay, what about Brunson?
Not as much.
Because I'll
I
even
will
say
give you
last
that
year,
argument.
I'll say last year I didn't really see this coming from him, and he's been very well this year. I bet you Luke was looking at it like, damn, we really gave that up. It's the fit, and he wanted to be maybe not a number one, but he wanted to be the prime decision maker, which is a number one. But we all know he's not the best player on that team per se. But you don't really know who is the best player on that team because it's not RJ Barrett, even though it's supposed to be by now, considering he's in year 4. And RJ Barrett has been disappointing. It's not I guess it'd be Julius Randle because he's putting not I almost said MVP numbers. That'd be wild. He's putting up All-Star numbers this year, but he's probably not going to get the votes. It's wild. That whole voting system, we were talking about it earlier before the pod, but that whole voting system makes no sense and is so flawed and skewed. Like I was watching a Kenny B video, shout out Kenny Beecham, and he was basically saying like when we do the votings, 8 or 9 spots are already kind of called for, so you only really get like 1 or 2 votes that you're really trying to get. Because we all know Steph and Luka are going to get it. We all know Braun and Katie are going to get it. We all know Giannis and maybe AD are going to get it. So you only have like 1 spot, really. And he was hurt a lot. I feel like that should be a threshold where it's like, oh, you have to play maybe not 85%, but maybe like yeah, you got to have like 75ish more percent of like games played to actually be in consideration. Because obviously, just off of we have Kevon Looney about to be a starter. We have Kevon Looney. Remember that year Zaza was a starter. Warriors go ham for their guys. I can't lie. They go ham for their franchise. But it's stupid. And I don't really know another way they can do it though, because when we do because if we do players, it's going to be the same players every year. Even coaches, there's some coaches where it's like a coach may not like the way Joel Embiid, or let's even use Harden back when it was prime Harden. A lot of coaches don't like the way Harden played because of his foul baiting, stuff like that. So they may be like, oh, well, he's not a starter. We'll choose 2 guys over him when obviously he deserves it. Compared to a guy like Luka, we're having this conversation now where the games are kind of similar. Obviously, Luka has had more playoff success in a short span, but we look at that and we're all like, oh, amazed by Luka doing what he's doing when he's kind of doing a glorified version of what Harden was doing and getting the same results, just younger. And you see people are like, oh, well, we'll vote for him. But since we didn't like it with James Harden, oh, well, we're not going to vote. And I think that's what would happen if it's just media voting. And that's why they do like 50%. I think it's 50% fans, 25% players, 25% coaches, and it's a flawed system either way. Every year there's going to be at least 1 or 2 snubs, at least, because obviously we're humans. Nothing can be perfect about how it is. It's a really weird, tough situation. But yeah, we'll never really get over fan voting. We'll never really get over players just voting the same players. But we're done with the Chiefs and how they're probably going to make it to the first seed. We'll talk about seeding after. Right now, I want to talk about the Jags and how they have a very good chance to beat the Titans, who were a number 1 seed last year, and how everybody clowned me for saying they were a fraudulent number 1 seed. Well, I wouldn't say, okay, maybe fraudulent is the wrong term to use, but even then, I didn't see the team they had last year winning the Super Bowl. Even though I know you could say, oh, well, the Rams it still took a lot for them to beat the Bengals. I still think Bengals have a more talented offense. I think Joe Burrow is a way better quarterback than Tannehill. I think all 3 receivers are better than the receivers they have. A.J. Brown, I still don't even think A.J. Brown is as good as Jamar Chase. when we talk about just number ones. So it's like, and then number twos, I think last year version of Julio, obviously prime Julio, we know I'm taking over everybody. But last year version of Julio, I'm not taking him over T. Higgins. I may be pairing him with like Tyler Boyd.
I'd
And
take Tyler Boyd.
And exactly, and Tyler Boyd was their number three. So if you have three guys that beat their two guys, I mean Derrick Henry speaks for himself. But if you have three guys that beat their two guys on offense, and the defense isn't really holding up for you because of how long you guys have to be out there, well, you can't win, which is what we saw. Even though it came down basically to the wire with the field goal at the end with Money McPherson, who this year has turned into god awful McPherson.
All kickers are bad.
Kickers have been. It's not just me, right? Kickers have been on the skid this year.
Yeah, this year they've been a little like even fucking
Justin Tucker. He's missed 4.
Missed 2 in one game. And
I say he missed 4. He had 2 blocked.
Was it your kicker? Or was it Georgia kicker that missed 3 in the fucking in the Peach Bowl?
Our kicker, Georgia kicker, missed the first one because they were supposed to be up 3-0. He missed, and then obviously we scored, and then we missed one, which would have put us up if we made it, and then we hooked that last one.
That last one was tough.
And we hooked.
It was the Clemson kicker. The Clemson kicker against Tennessee missed 3 in a row. He missed his first 3, bro. And they ended up losing by like fucking 14 or something like that. I was like, you suck. That was a rough one.
Hey, it proves you do need good kickers. You do need good kickers.
Big part of the game.
It is. Like, we take for granted the great years Vinatieri, Stefan Gostkowski, and now Tucker.
Dude, Gostkowski was a tragic story. like that man, the AFC Championship game missed that extra point. It got ruined by Patriots fans and was never the same.
He never was. It's also because he was on a run where he was kind of being maybe comparable to what Vinatieri was doing back in his prime.
Unreal. And
then once that happened, I think maybe confidence shook, maybe even the organization not believing in him, teammates not believing in him, that shakes you. So, and then you see he started to wane, and then he, like you said, he was never the same. And I think once kickers' confidence goes out the roof, I think they just lose it.
Yeah,
because it's like a soccer player. If Messi can't be confident going into the box, being like, or even a penalty kick, being like, I know I can make this. As soon as he loses that, you can't play. It's like, or even LeBron, if he's not confident, I can't make this jump shot. You can't win, or you can't be the same player.
Yeah,
because you won't attack it the same way.
Back to the Jags, because I kind of got us a little off track.
We like
Jags make the damn playoffs.
We never do anything on track.
The Jags made the playoffs over the Patriots. So I'm gonna throw myself in front of a bus, dude. There's no reason that team should be like. I mean, that division is fucking terrible.
It is terrible.
The division is terrible.
But we could say that, but there's a division every year that, like, for the past, 4 years, I feel like Dallas' division, we kept winning and people would be, like, putting us on a high horse. But I was like, Eagles weren't that good. Even Eagles were our best competition. They played us the best. Then you have the Giants, who were just floundering in dysfunction. You had Washington, who's the epitome of organizational collapse. So it's like, you could say, Dallas has been clinching their division like basically every other year they could. In a bad division, we could talk about Tom Brady winning his division this year against Sam Darnold.
And the AFC East was bad for a very long time.
It was.
Other than us, it was very bad.
And even this year, we could say it's more comparable because at one point we had basically all of our teams in the playoffs. Or we were kind of flirting with it because this one the Pats were like real bad, so we were like the last seed, but we were still kind of flirting with the playoffs. But we had a bunch of, I'm pretty sure every team except for the Patriots were over 500 at one point, and we were 500. And then now we see it's going to end up we're 500, Dolphins are 500, Jets are below 500, and Bills are the ones with a positive record.
Yeah,
but
I just don't. I hate teams that have a fucking negative record getting in playoffs. So if the fucking Titans win, I'll be mad. Like, I want the Jags to get in just because they've been so terrible the past few years, and that'll be like a pretty sick turnaround. But it's like, I don't like it. The Jags getting in the playoffs and the Patriots not. That'd be just a huge kick in the balls.
It would be. But I also see it just happening just because our luck, and especially we have to face the Bills. They have to face the Titans, who are really hurting right now. Who they had Malik Willis. They drafted in the third round. Obviously, we know he's a project QB. But even for them to be like, no, what we saw was so bad that we're going to go with Josh Dobbs,
But
who
for
has
some
bounced around the league the past 5 years. So
for some reason,
it's concerning.
the Jags always choke. Like, I feel like the Jags get to a spot.
But didn't they beat Indy last year?
Yeah. But, like, that wasn't for anything on their line.
No.
You know? But, like, I feel like they just don't they don't ever finish. But, like, they haven't had a whole lot of opportunities
to finish.
Bad. But, like, they should have beat us in the
AFC Championship
game.
But they had Blake Bortles at quarterback, so I refuse to even admit that could have been a possibility.
Bro, they're up 10 fucking fourth quarter.
They had Saxonville, and I understand that, but they also had Blake fucking Bortles, who was flirting with the Super Bowl ring.
And they made such dumb decisions. They signed Christian Kirk for $1 trillion.
For a bag. Who still hasn't been bad, but you still see he's probably overpaid. With his production, if they got him at a little bit more of a discount, I definitely think it would have been like, this was a great signing. But I think the reason why people drag on it is because he's paid like a number one. He's getting paid at 18 per year, which still isn't that bad. It could be worse.
There's no names on their defense.
No, not anymore. Ever since they traded away literally every single piece of Saxonville. Even Miles Jack, who they had, they finally got rid of and gave to the Steelers.
Me thinking about the Jags making the playoffs is making me more and more mad. Just the more I think about it.
Let's just hope.
Motherfucker shouldn't be here.
But at the same time, we need them to win because I'd much rather them be in the playoffs over Titans.
Well, that's the problem. If they lose and we lose,
Titans are in the playoffs or have a better chance.
Well, the Titans are in. Whoever wins their game tonight wins the division.
Mm-hmm.
So if the Titans win, they're in the playoffs, and if the Jags lose, and we lose, I think the Jags are in the last wild card spot.
Damn.
Because we need the Jags to win, and we need the I think we have the tiebreaker over Pittsburgh.
Mm-hmm.
So if they lose and we lose, or if we both win, then we're in, or if we both lose, we're in. Fucking Dolphins is a good question that I don't know the answer.
I just know we need the Dolphins.
We just need everyone to lose. We need the Jags to win because we're not going to beat the damn Bills.
No,
we need us to. We need,
and especially now with the news, they just have even more ways to be kind of excited to play.
We need us to lose because we don't need it. We need us to win, but we're not gonna.
Mm-hmm.
We need Dolphins to lose to the Jets, with Joe Flacco, could happen, and we need Pittsburgh to lose to the Browns, which also could happen.
Mm-hmm. I don't know, but we'll talk about the Pats in a second, their whole playoff picture. But right now I want to talk about the impact of the Bills-Bengals game obviously being canceled. Because right now I'm on the NFL website, and it's saying basically Bengals have clinched the AFC North because Ravens can't win if they were to win today or tomorrow. Because Ravens won the first time. Ravens won the first time, but because Bengals have such a better record, there's no way they could clinch because they lost to the Steelers. But basically, Bengals can no longer obtain the first seed because of they're not going to be playing that game. Right now, the Chiefs will clinch the first seed with a win over the Raiders or Bills loss versus the Patriots, which would be great for us if we were to win. But obviously, for the scale of the NFL, it would be bad because Chiefs would win and get the first round bye. Bills clinch number one seed with a win and the Chiefs loss at the Raiders. Bengals will finish at number 2 if they have a win versus the Ravens plus a Bills loss, in any other scenario, basically Bengals are basically gonna be number 3 if Bills win today.
That's gonna cause a lot of fucking problems.
And basically, AFC Championship game, if it is between them, would have to be at a neutral site because of it.
Yeah, that has to happen. Because if they just said fuck it, like Chiefs get the first seed, and then like the Bills go down to Kansas City and lose in Kansas City, that's gonna be a fucking problem.
Yeah.
So that's what they have to neutral site it.
I kind of wish they did I was hearing a plan that they're going to have with where it's 8 teams in the playoffs, and I was like, we'd definitely be in at that point.
Yeah, but
We could lose and still be in.
That just doesn't seem like they'd ever do that. Like it makes sense.
It seems like it'd be like the NBA play-in, where it's like
basically.
you don't really deserve to be here, but I guess here you go.
But then it's like the first seed has to play wildcard weekend, and it's like no, like then what did we play for? If like
because then nobody would care about seeding.
Yeah, because then you're all just like, it would be interesting though.
It would be.
Like it'd be like.
I wish we could have like a mini scale of it, just so we could see how it would work.
Because like maybe the Dolphins would be in that 8th seed, and Tua might come back and then beat the Chiefs or something like that. That'd be pretty interesting.
That'd be pretty crazy. I think it would make the playoffs more interesting, but I also think it would make it more kind of fraught, where it's like, all right, then if I don't care about seeding, then what's the point in me trying to be number 1? Unless I want a lesser matchup, and even then, the lesser matchup this year still has Tyreek Hill and Jalen Waddle.
Yeah. Yeah, it just doesn't seem like they would ever do something like that. But it would be a cool kind of thing to do. But then it'd be like you'd forever have like kind of this asterisk next to this season, like this playoffs.
Yeah, I mean, it doesn't matter even what happens because like I was telling Garfield off the pod, I was saying I think whoever comes out of the AFC this year is going to win the Super Bowl. So it doesn't matter if it's the Bengals. They'll be like, oh, well, since they didn't play that game, if it's the Bills, they'll, kind of prop it up in like a hero aspect where it's like, oh, because even though they couldn't play that game, knowing that they had Damar Hamlin just on their side, that kind of gave them the element to lift themselves out of the playoffs and into the Super Bowl and win. And Chiefs, it'd just be like, oh, they're building a dynasty. So it doesn't matter which way you cut it. There's always going to be an asterisk. It's kind of like we use LeMickey, but at the same time, he was the most ready in those playoffs because anybody could have won that NBA Finals, but the Lakers just happened to win, and I don't understand why you put an asterisk towards it.
Yeah, it's still basketball. Like I feel like
if anything, we always talk about, my bad to cut you off, but we always talk about how it's the most purest form of basketball we ever had, where all anybody was thinking about was basketball. And they happen to win. So if anything, that makes it more if we're using that argument. But, I'll let you go.
I just feel like home court advantage isn't as, like, helpful to the home team as, like, home field advantage in football. Like, home field advantage is a lot, like, obviously with, like, everything. With, like, the 12th man up in Seattle, like, people can't hear, Like, it takes a lot to adjust to that.
And Chiefs, they're very loud.
The energy that it like fans bring to like I played a game this year where I was playing right tackle and I hadn't played tackle in college, and their like sideline was so loud like I couldn't hear anything, so I just fucking started going and a false started. So, like that aspect is like a big deal in the game. So like taking that away, I feel like a lot of people are going to be like asterisks.
Yeah. I don't know. It's definitely an unfortunate situation for the NFL because obviously they didn't plan for this to happen, and it is screwing them, making them look even more like the villain. Like we were saying earlier, where if they already don't look like the villains to some people, they're definitely going to look like the villains no matter who wins the Super Bowl.
Well, they've handled this situation pretty well.
They have. I'll definitely say, like I was saying earlier, I was maybe too emotional in not seeing both sides of the conversation and only seeing my side. But now that I've seen both sides, I could see where they have a lot to think about. Where, like I was fucking saying, that fucking Burger King ad. I saw another one last night. I wanted to throw some at my TV, but
Yeah, no, it's that thing's annoying as fuck.
but you know how much they probably paid for that to be like how Burger King paid for them to keep playing that,
Yeah.
and how much they're probably making off of it. So they're like, oh well, you didn't play it certain X amount of times during this game like you're supposed to because you guys canceled it. Either we want recuperation, or they want to be like, oh well, for in the play, maybe they're like, oh well, you only had one schedule for the Super Bowl, but because you took it out here, we want it recuperated into the Super Bowl. Yeah, and that's how they'd make their money back. But it'd also be like, then you'd have to kick another sponsor out, and you'd lose that money.
Yeah, money's a thing. I hate money.
Money rules the world. It's what I've come to learn.
Stupid.
It's whoever
Hate
has the
that.
most money has everything, really.
That's what, and I didn't even like when people were like yelling and screaming about like how they should cancel the game on Monday, like immediately. It wasn't
Mhm.
even like I didn't even think about the money. It's just like you need to
You need time.
you need time to process and like go through all the scenarios.
Because I think if they said, oh, he's awake, talking, watching the game, or like ready to watch the game, I think everybody would have been like, oh, okay, maybe we kind of overreacted to what it was.
Yeah.
Even though with obviously them having to give him chest compression and stuff like that, I still think that was pretty scary. But I think if they said, yeah, he's up literally watching the game right now, I think everybody would have been like, oh, I think they would have been able to shake it off a little bit, been like, oh, he's watching. We got to win this for him because he's watching us.
Yeah.
But when it was
You
like,
gotta like
man wasn't conscious, it was like, dude, we can't play. We thought this man died.
that's like I understand the players like not wanting to go out and play anymore. I
Mm.
understand that. But it's like with the money, obviously there's a lot of
There's a lot of stake.
bets that were made and fantasy championships and all that shit. So they had to probably think about that, and then they had to think about the playoff picture because this game had impact on the seeding, and they had to think about like when they're going to play the game. If they postpone it, they have to think about when they're going to play it. It's like so much goes into a huge decision. Like postponing a football game is like a huge decision,
No,
like
that
to make. So
there's
like
only been like one other postponement I've seen, or we've seen a couple
other
postponements
than
get played,
other
like
than the
rain.
COVID year, like
Yeah,
because the
and
COVID
even
year
like
everything was getting postponed.
yeah, but even then, I'm pretty sure everything was. It was a little bit easier to postpone it because it was like, oh well, everything's postponed anyway.
Yeah,
But like, I mean,
that
we've
year
seen.
they played games on fucking Wednesday, Friday, Tuesday. Like
Yeah,
they're playing games all over the place.
I mean, they made it work, which is why I can't really blame the NFL for trying to make it work this year. They were given an impossible task and been taking a very delicate, right approach to it, which you got to give credit to Roger Goodell. That's what they pay him the big bucks for.
Yeah, he's not a bad commissioner. I don't care what anybody says. He does.
He's not a bad commissioner, and especially when you have all the owners really making it hard on him, because like obviously with the whole Dan Schneider situation in Washington, they're like, oh, we'll just fire him or just kick him out. All the other owners probably want his money. Like the only reason why they want him out is because he refused to share the ticket holdings. But if it wasn't for that, they'd be like, oh, it's fine, he could stay. They
He
want
like
the owners they already know.
Roger Goodell like listens and
I,
makes decisions like based on like for the as soon as the Saints game happened, the Saints Rams with the pass interference at the end,
mm,
everybody's saying make this play, make PIs reviewable, like
mm,
challengeable. Everyone's saying that. We tried it for a year and it went
awful.
horrible. He listened and he implemented it. It went terrible and he took it out. Like that is one of the prime examples of like this guy listens and then implements things to try to make the game better and
Mm,
make the game like actual like the best team wins
yeah,
and like there's no human official error
but I think
and
also
then
human
like
official
he
error is
makes
what makes it more fun.
yeah
You know,
but
but I
like
can see
plays like that is not fun like
no
plays like that catastrophically like
that missed.
bad like that's clear as day everyone knew that was PI and it had it was like Drew Brees was going to go to a Super Bowl against Tom fucking Brady. Like that would have been the story of a lifetime. Tom Brady versus Drew Brees in a Super Bowl would have been unreal. But we fucking got Jared Goff versus Tom Brady in the most boring Super Bowl ever.
People underrate that Super Bowl. Well,
No, I love it, but
I'm not even saying it from a Pats fan perspective, and maybe it's because I would say I'm not Americanized when it comes to sports. Where I'll explain my meaning by that. And my dad explains this very well. Obviously, he's not from here; he's from Haiti. In Haitian sports, they watch a lot of like volleyball. They watch a lot of, funny enough, baseball. They watch a lot of soccer and basketball, of course, because it's pretty big down there. But they don't watch a lot of football. So when it comes to high scoring games, the highest scoring game they see is basketball. And even then, my dad only really likes the era where it's like the 90s, where their game wasn't as fast, their game wasn't as high scoring. Like games were like 88 to 100 on like a really good day. Compared to now, it's like we just saw the Celtics lose 150, 117. And we just saw in that one night historic scoring where Clay came back and scored 50, not came back, but came really into his own that game and scored 54. Donovan scored 71 and had the third best game, according to analytics, of all time in the NBA. And we've seen, like they say, 40 is the new 30, where I see 40-point games and I'm like, oh, that's pretty cool. When I feel like before you see 40-point games, go, damn, that guy was cooking.
Yeah.
Compared to now, it's like you got to have like 50 for me to be like, oh, okay, raise my attention, which is nuts. But my point in all this being, when I watched that Super Bowl, not even just being a Pats fan, I was like, this is a real defensive Super Bowl. It's fun to watch. If I wanted to watch really high scoring Super Bowls or really high scoring like final games, I would literally just watch college. The Ohio State one was a great game for me because it's college. It's supposed to be high scoring. It's supposed to be like that and fun and fast.
Yeah.
But when it's a Super Bowl, I want to see it be like these defenses are stopping the offense. Whose offense is going to strike blood first? Whose offense is going to finally prevail against a great defense? That's for me what is fun. And obviously to each their own, but I feel like what my dad was trying to tell me is like it's more of an Americanized thing where it's like high scoring games. Because in soccer now, like in the Premier League, they added reviews, which has never been seen, and now it really slows down the pace of the game so they could have more scoring.
That's why soccer will never be as popular as like it is here, like as popular as it is over like in other places, because like I'm fucking no different. Like I see a 0-0 score and I'm like,
yeah,
that's fucking bullshit. Like yeah, like if I watch that game, I just wasted an hour and a half of my fucking life. Like and obviously the World Cup final I watched and it was electric, and I was like, and I said to my girlfriend, I said, if every soccer game was like this, I'd watch it. Exactly. I'd watch it all the time. But it's not. And that's not the game. There's a lot of
games where you'll see 0-0, you'll see 1-0, but it'll be a great defensive game where it's like, oh, if that just one action, but that just one touch, that one touch assist just makes that goal, and it's like, and that's what could be the kicker. And that's what I mean, where it's like what you're saying, where it's like it'll never be popular here for that reason.
Yeah, Americans have a short attention span.
We do.
So if you're not goddamn scoring in 2 seconds, we don't watch it.
We're podding right now, so, and obviously we're a sports podcast, as the title says. I don't know if we are. We talk about a lot more than sports, or a lot less than sports. But I was having this conversation with one of my buddies, and I was saying, obviously, you know, the girlfriend has TikTok and loves TikTok, and I got it for this brand. And obviously we haven't been posting on it, so sometimes I'll just like scroll just to see what's fresh, see what everybody's talking about. And I've realized just doing that makes my attention span so much shorter. Like in the month that I've been like really using it, my attention span is like decreased crazy. Like I'll be watching a YouTube video for like an hour and a half, like a gameplay. And I was just like, I'm like 30 minutes in, and I'm just like, I notice myself scrolling. I'm like, what am I doing right now? I can't even just watch for an hour and a half, just stay dedicated and focused. And it's like, it's crazy.
I can't even do that. Like I'll be playing fucking like MLB The Show. I can't even just be playing that. Like I need to have like I need like Netflix over here and like texting people, and I'm playing. It's like I'm fucking all over the place.
We're doomed as a society.
Oh, Hundo B. I mean, like, not doomed. Like we'll figure it out.
Will we?
Yeah,
Will
we
we?
always figure it out. We always figure shit out.
Yeah, that's true. Somehow we always, as humans, just go, we could make just one little adjustment and just save us another 50 years.
We
Push it
make
down the road.
do. We make
We are
do with
quite
what we
literally
got.
the Los Angeles Rams of society, where we just go, all right, we make one little change, push it down the road, and then we keep winning for now. And it's like, all right, in 50 years, we'll deal with it. And the 50 years comes, and we're like, crap, why did we do that? Kick it down for the next guys. Eventually, it's going to catch up with us. I don't think it will in our lifetime, but
Yeah, I'll be chilling. I'll be good.
you'll be
I'll be
80
Dave.
being like, damn, y'all fucked up.
I'll
Y'all,
be.
and they're
I'll be
like,
gone.
and your grandkids will be like, Grandpa, this is on you too. And you'll be like, I'll be gone when y'all
Oh
gotta fix
well.
it. I'll be good. I'll be in the grave. But we'll move on to the Pats, and then lastly we got a kind of spicy, kind of not even really spicy take. I feel like it's a very common take, but I got a spicy pick. But talking about the Pats, we'll talk about the Pats real quick, where it's I want to be in the playoffs. I don't
Yeah, I want to
care
be in the
how far it
playoffs
is.
too.
We're gonna lose in the first round. I just want to be in the playoffs. That's all I want.
Of course, but of course we got to play the Bills, man.
I know.
Not only are the Bills, but they got a fire lit under their ass
Because even I'm pretty
because they're
sure.
playing for Damar now.
Yeah, and this is what I mean, where it's like, let's say what some people are saying, where they're not ready to play us tomorrow, and we win, and the Bengals still lose, and the Chiefs still win, so they'd basically just stay stuck in the number 2 spot. You're telling me we're gonna basically have to do what we did last year and face them back-to-back weeks again, where we lose in the playoffs badly again?
Man, that's
It's
what I don't want to see that because I saw last year we came out the gate in that playoff game and we looked good the first drive and then Mac throws a pick which good it was a good play by whoever the fucking what was it fucking
Warrior, I think.
sure but he it was a nice play by him and I was like, oh, that fucking sucks. And then little did I know that we were gonna give a perfect goddamn game. But this year, do I think the problem is we need our defense. If we want to win games, we need our defense to score, and that is so unlikely
I mean,
every
our
time.
defense has actually been pretty good this year with scoring. Like Kyle Duggar has 2 touchdowns on the year.
He has 3 touchdowns.
Kyle Duggar has really shocked me, if I'm being honest. I saw him coming out of where did he come out of?
Lenore Ryan.
Yeah, and we drafted him. And I was like, what the fuck are we doing, Bill?
Yeah, I wasn't a huge fan of a G2 guy coming out of the second round, but I was
But I gotta
okay.
say, when it comes to defense, that man knows what he's doing. Never let this man draft another receiver.
Yeah, but that's the thing. With his draft picks, he's hit on a lot, except for fucking Josh Uche's got 10 sacks this year. It took him a little bit, but he's now the second round pick out of Michigan.
Mm.
Anthony Jennings has been pretty fucking good. Barmore, Godshaw, fucking Cole Strange has been pretty fucking good.
Well, Stranger's kind of showed out, especially the last couple weeks.
I would say Cole Strange's pass blocking is kind of atrocious, but him in the run game and he's
Which is
fucking
what we
solid.
really, really need him for, if we're being real.
So bro, Bill's like an underrated draft genius. It's
He
just
is.
we look
I
at
think
the
it's just because
receivers.
we see the first round blunder, or not even first round. We see the blunders when it comes to receiver. When even this year, I think he's probably done the best he ever has. Where that kid Thornton coming out of Baylor, he's been very solid, quietly solid for us
Yeah,
for the
when
past couple
he'll
of
be
games.
good. Well, he'll be good if he was hurt most of this year. He'll be good
Yeah,
next
with a
year.
full off season under his
And
belt, full training camp.
yeah, and then Mac Jones the Mac Jones pick looked good last year, and now doesn't look as good. But where
Like I said,
everyone's
that's his ceiling. So if that's his ceiling and that's what he can look like, we'll be in a decent place.
that we just need to get Matt Patricia the fuck out of here. That whole experiment is over and done with. It was terrible. We need like an actual offensive coordinator, like an
Hey, let's
actual.
hope let's
Who
hope
they
the
want?
Raiders fire Josh McDaniels and we'll have him back.
I've heard mad people want Bill O'Brien.
I don't.
Fucking Alabama scored 40 in a bowl game, so I guess that's something.
They also lost to Tennessee.
But they still put up 40 in that game.
They did. They did. I'm just kind of
That's
being a
like
hater about it, which is pretty funny.
that's like the thing. Like, do I want Bill O'Brien?
I'd sleep on it.
I'll take anybody, man. Honestly, over Matt Patricia right now, I'll take anyone. Give me Bill O'Brien. Give me fucking me. I'll call better plays than him.
No, but yeah, and then to round it out, we'll talk about the NFC a little bit. I know this has been a very AFC heavy conversation, but
The NFC is pretty locked,
NFC,
except for
it's
the
like
Packers.
we know who's really going to be the top guys. We know it's going to be the Eagles. We know it's going to be the Cowboys. We know it's going to be the 49ers. Bucks are in there if they catch fire only because of Tom Brady. That's the only reason why I give them any respect. Aaron Rodgers still. So I guess they can maybe go on that magical 2011 run again. Maybe. I don't see it, but you never really know, especially with how the NFC is kind of light. And I think they could beat Dallas. I think they could come pretty close to maybe the Eagles. The only team I don't really see them beating is the 49ers, because I have the 49ers as my Super Bowl pick, even though I know they have Brock Purdy. But Brock Purdy's been very solid.
Yeah. Could you imagine that team if they had Trey Lance still, though?
True.
That team would be scary, scary.
I really want to see what he's going to be, and it just sucks that he really tore his ankle this year, because I don't really have an idea on what he's going to be, so I was just really excited to see if he
But
could
like
be
this team
what
is
you think he will.
the team is proving they don't need a fucking
Quarterback.
amazing quarterback. They've done it with Jimmy G. They've now doing it with Brock Purdy. They don't need an amazing quarterback. They just need someone that won't turn the ball over and can like hit throws to fucking Debo that's on a fucking flat and he'll just do his thing. Or like throw a screen to Christian McCaffrey. So it's like that team is scary for like the next couple of years.
They're very, very scary.
And like I like the 49ers. I don't like what they did to Jimmy G. I think they should have, put a little more respect on Jimmy's name because all he's done is win for them. But I think the Eagles are just not lately, but they were too good to not be in the
be in the first thought of your mind when it comes to NFC.
The only problem is like if they play like the Cowboys again, they give up 40. It's like that defense is shaky.
I guess Cowboys hater, as some people call me, when I'm a Cowboys fan who's just realistic because you guys are stupid. But I could see us beating Eagles again. I could see us beating the Eagles. But when it comes to us having to beat Brock Purdy, funny enough, I see that defense is way too good. They're going to stop the run, even though Tony Pollard has been good and deserves his Pro Bowl spot. I don't think, because I think they'll stop him, and I don't think Zeke is like, oh, well, now I'll rush for efficient numbers. I'll rush for like 20 and 120. It'll most likely be like 20 for 54, 20 for 60, with like 2 touchdowns. And it's like, even doing that, it's like I see Dak throwing interceptions. He likes to do that.
Yep.
And then CD, I'll shut my mouth about CD because he in the latter half of the season he's really proved himself to be a number 1 receiver.
Yeah, he's a baller.
But the thing that sucks is because he is the number one receiver and he's the undoubtable number 1 receiver. I don't think Michael Gallup lights like even candle to him, and they'll just be like, all right, fine, we'll double CD. You guys won't be able to beat us with Michael Gallup. You guys won't be able to beat us with your 2 and 3 and 4 receiver. And I feel like that's what kind of sucked about us having to give up Amari Cooper, because even if Amari Cooper isn't as good as what CD is right now, I still think having that attention on him and then having CD be the number 2, where it's like, oh, CD is a low-end number 1, so it's like he could beat all those guys. I think that would really have solidified it for me, but we're in the situation we're in now and just kind of have to deal with it.
I don't see, like you said, I don't see any of the NFC teams winning the Super Bowl.
And we completely forgot about the Vikings, where I think we're both just kind of tired of the Vikings when it comes to they win in such dramatic fashion. I think we know they're the Suns, or they're a great regular season team. they will undoubtedly do something in the playoffs that will get them beat.
They're so frauds, dude. Like, barely beat the Patriots, barely beat the Colts. Got fucking shit on by the Packers. Like, but like then they have these. They got lucky. They got lucky against the Bills. They got lucky. But they
luck is what you need.
Who fumbles the snap on their own 1 yard line?
They were just watching the Disney movie Luck of the Irish. They're like, they got the Luck of the Irish in them today.
God, that was so annoying to watch. But like, I don't like they find a way to like win these big games and convince everybody that they're fucking that they're like Super Bowl bound.
But I feel like real ball knowers know Kirk Cousins is going to do something that's going to screw them.
He's gonna do.
And if Jed is to get locked up like he did last time, I don't see that happening maybe again. But if he could get locked up like he got last time, it's scary for them. Dude, it's scary.
Give me a game where that's on primetime television, which is every playoff game, that Kirk Cousins just it takes over and like
do we count the Bills?
Throws for 300 yards.
Do we count the Bills?
No.
We don't?
Fine. One time.
Do we count in Washington days? No, Dak had him.
Washington days, he didn't do shit. He had that one Monday night game where you like that game, and that was it. I'm telling you, bro, he's gonna get in the playoffs, and he might sneak past a wild card team, but like he might beat the Giants. Yeah, he might beat the Giants, but even then, it took him a 61-yard field goal to beat the Giants this year, which was
underrated. Giants are underrated.
Giants are pretty decent. I don't want to admit that they're good because they're not, but they're gonna they're gonna lose to the Vikings in the Super Bowl or in the fucking not Super Bowl the wild card round, and then the Vikings are gonna lose to like the Eagles or something.
Either way, we'll finish off the show by giving up predictions. Now's the time where we're going to give our predictions. For me right now, AFC's tough, so I'll go NFC. I'll go NFC first because for me it's kind of undoubtable. I see 49ers because I see 49ers the only team that could beat the two top teams, being the Dallas Cowboys and the Philadelphia Eagles. I see them beating both teams because I see Dallas beating the Eagles, but I don't see us beating the 49ers defense. They're just suffocating. Nick Bosa's a problem. Fred Warner, best linebacker in the game. Their safeties aren't the greatest, but they're very good. They may not have like the real big names, but they have very good corners. They have very good safeties. Their defense is complete, is what I want to say. They're just complete. There's just no weaknesses I see on that defense, really. And their offenses, say what you want, but they have Christian McCaffrey who's running like a madman. They have George Kittle who's still the third, fourth best tight end in football. And they still have Deebo Samuel when he comes back, who is one of the best gadget players in the league.
Mm-hmm.
And then when it comes to the AFC, my heart wants to go with my original pick, the Bills. But my brain is like, it's going to be Kansas City or Bengals, and Bengals can beat Kansas City. But I'm going to go with my heart pick, and I'm going to go with the Bills. I'm going to go with the Bills.
My worst case scenario, like if this is the Super Bowl, I'm going to stick pencils in my eyes. Chiefs, Eagles.
I thought you would have said Chiefs, Cowboys. I think both those fan bases are toxic.
But the Eagles are more toxic. Philadelphia fans are more bad, more horrible people
than the Cowboys.
No doubt in my mind.
You're cooked. As
Dude,
an Cowboy fan,
Eagles fans are bad people. Have you not seen any of that shit? Like, there's like Eagles fans.
Cowboy fans are delusional to the point where it's like they're mentally ill patients that believe they could be president.
That's different. Like that, you can be delusional all you want in your own little world, but like Eagles fans are have you not seen like Eagles fans be like, hey Dak, how's your mom? How's your brother? Yeah, shit like that. That shit's just fucking. That shit's just. That's awful. Like Eagles fans are like the most toxic fan base in the fucking world. I mean, not the world. I don't know soccer, but
Some crazy ones.
I would rather listen to a delusional Cowboys fan than a toxic Eagles fan.
Coming from people who have listened to delusional Cowboys fans, I would not. I've wanted to. You don't know how many debates I've gotten into about how Dak is not a top 10 quarterback and how he's closer to 12. Like I said, I put him in 11, 12 range, but he's in like the Kirk Cousins, Derek Carr tier. He's not in the. I heard somebody say he could beat Joe Burrow, and I said, "You're a stupid man. You're a stupid man with a stupid face."
Fair.
Because I was like, what is Dak done that tells you he could beat Joe Burrow? Well, he won a playoff game. And I was like, and Joe Burrow went to the Super Bowl. Oh, well. And I was like, it doesn't matter. He still went to one. Say it's fluky all you want. Dak has never been to one. This year's probably his easiest year. The NFC is wide open.
I don't think they beat the Eagles with Jalen Hurts, but I think the Bills make it out of the
AFC.
East. Yeah, the AFC. Yeah.
So you're going Bills.
I'm going Bills Eagles.
Eagles.
I think, but
that's a wild Super Bowl. I'll give you that. Eagles are wild. Eagles fans are wild.
If it's a Chiefs Eagles Super Bowl, I don't think you'll ever hear from me again. I think I'll just
the show notes.
Yeah, I think I'll just walk into a volcano or something.
It's tough, man. I'd really miss having you here.
I'd rather do that than watch that garbage can.
Because you want to know what happened. I'd beat Sheep Kingdom. I'm going for my guy Pat Mahomes.
I'd have to root for the Chiefs, but
I'd have to by proxy because Eagles are in my division.
I have an Eagles jersey right there, actually.
How can you do that? Having them beat the Pats.
It was first of all, let me show it to you because you will understand when you see it. It's a child's jersey.
No.
It's an Asante Samuel when he was on the Eagles.
Yeah.
I used to wear that. We'd have Patriots Day in elementary school, and I used to thought I was the funniest kid ever when I would wear an Eagles jersey. And then the Eagles beat the Patriots, and now I hate them. I loved the Eagles when they had Mike Vick.
I think everybody did. I think they were just such a fun team to watch because they had Vic, Shady, Deshaun
Jackson. Like that was a fun team to watch.
It was a fun team. No, but I think that'll wrap it up for today. But any last thoughts on anything? Bills and Damar obviously still sending prayers, like we said earlier. But yeah, other than that, I just want to say hyped for the playoffs. Obviously, we couldn't really talk about anything in the regular season, and we've been absent, but playoffs are coming upon us, and it's going to be really exciting this year.
Really exciting.
For the first time, we really have a lot of parity in the NFL where we don't really know who's going to win. There's no definite, this guy's making it or this guy's making it. It's just a lot of people could beat a lot of people. It's fun, just simple enough to say it. Every team can be beat.
Yep.
Which is nice to see. But yeah, that'll do it for today's episode of the Unruly Podcast with your boy Sticks and your boy Evan. Make sure to go subscribe on YouTube. You will be getting the full video version. If you're on the audio version on Apple, make sure to give us a subscription there. Make sure to go give us a like on YouTube. Make sure to go give us a follow on Instagram, follow on TikTok. But yeah, that'll be it.
See ya.
Bye.